Uh, my name is Brighton Aboga, Asuba, from right deep in Nyanza, which is where we settled, the Subas. I know when I speak of Suba, most people would confuse me for a Luo.
Yeah, obvious.
But that is far from the truth. Subas are not Luos, like many people confuse. They are not even Nilotes.
Expand on that.
So I'm going to expound on that.
Yeah.
The Suba are a Bantu group, also referred to as the Western Bantus, who, like any other Bantus who settled in Kenya, are from the Congo. Yes. So the Subas originated from the Congo, and then the movements led to some settlement in Uganda. Yes. So the Suba community are a community that most of us read about, but maybe did not get the exact picture of where they were coming from. History books have written a lot about the Luo Abasuba.
Unaanza na Joko.
Now those are Luos.
And then pale chini unapata Joko Suba.
There is Joka Jok, Joko Win, Joko Molo, and Luo Abasuba.
And Luo Abasuba, yeah.
Yeah. Now that is what the history books have. But what should we know as the people who, the original people of Suba?
The original authors.
Yes. So Subas are not supposed to be even classified as Luos in the first place. Like I said, they are not even Nilotes.
They are Bantus.
They are Bantus. Some of the Bantu groups that we know are, the Baluya, the Kamba,
the Kikuyus,
the Bagusi. Yeah. So you will realize that Suba names of this community starts with the prefix Aba. Yes. Which means the people of. So when you talk of Abakuria, it means the people of Kuria.
Yeah.
Abaluya, the people of Loya. Abagusi, the people of Gusi. You understand? And that is where we also have Abasuba, which means the people of Suba. If you look at the rest of the communities like the Nilos, the Semites, the Kushites, they do not have that prefix. You will hear of Luos and not Abaluos. Yeah. So it is only the Suba communities that have this particular prefix. Aba. Yes. So it means the people of.
So where was the confusion started? Until when now you are mentioned to be Luo.
To be Luo.
Yeah.
That is an interesting story. And we're going to delve into that.
Yes.
And I'll start here. Subas, like I said, migrated from the Congo, then into Uganda. So originally, like we read in history books, Subas were from the kingdom that I know most of us read about, the Buganda kingdom. The Buganda kingdom was a kingdom that had its location in Uganda. And it was led by a Kabaka. We had the Kabaka
Mutesa.
Yes. So that kinship is what Subas came from. So up until the 16th century, as the population grew and people, scrambled for a lot of things, there's the scramble for leadership, there's scramble for land and resources. So a lot of conflicts grew among people. And then there was a confusion between the then king, who was known as the Kabaka Junju, and a brother. So the brother had a wife. Then the wife got pregnant. But then Kabaka Junju claimed that the pregnancy was his and not the brother's. So this thing led to a lot of commotion. And in secrecy, the king was killed.
The
Kabaka Junju. Yes. So when he was killed, of course, when a person is killed, a person of high caliber as the king, the people in the hierarchy will always want to find out who did the killing.
The investigation.
Yes. So there were two factions here. Those who were for the king and those who were not. So, of course, there are those who knew exactly who killed the king. Yes. So, when investigations were going on and meetings were called, people were brought together to discuss this. And then it was decreed that whenever the person who killed the king would be found, they would be killed, and the entire lineage sent out that region. So when this meeting was called, the factions that killed the king were not present in that meeting. So it was clear that it is them. So word was sent that they would all be killed. But then there was someone known as, I would call him a messenger, who was being sent around telling people whether there are meetings or such kind of things. In the olden days, there was someone who was tasked with that
role.
Yes. So this man saw it wise to go and warn those people who did not attend the meeting, who were actually the slayers of the king, that know what, this is what is happening, and very soon, come tomorrow, you all shall be slaughtered. So they flee that very night. So when they flew, of course, the people, there are also those who are tasked with carrying out such kind of
jobs.
Those who are sent to, clear a community or clear certain kind of people.
The machineries.
Yes, they go to homes and then they do such. So when they got to those homes, those people were not there, which meant that they had
get the information.
The information that someone is coming for the king or the kingdom is coming after them. Yeah. So another meeting was called to identify who might have warned them. But then the evidence was there. The evidence was there is a particular tool, a horn, that is being used to do some communications. It could be blown either to call for meetings or for some kind of musical stuff. So when this messenger went to warn the other faction that the kingdom was coming after them, he dropped this on. Yes. And so the faction that had the messenger was the faction of the Suba that flee latest from Uganda, that is from the Buganda kingdom, and then settled along the Nile. And along the shores of Lake Victoria. Yes. Which is where the present Subas are. So when we talk about the confusion that is coming in between the Luos and the Subas and why they're called the Luo, Abasuba and everything, education during then came with the missionaries, the Wazungu. They did not only bring education, they brought religion and the likes, a culture that most people wanted to adopt. So the Subas had their culture, but then they came and settled in a place where the inhabitants were purely Luo. You understand? Yeah. So here is a case that for you to get this knowledge, the knowledge that is being brought by...
That's education.
Yes.
Medical.
Yes. The only people
who offered it were
Luos. And secondly, I think it is also important to mention that the professors then, those who were learned, those who were tasked with the role or the responsibility of passing this information were also Luos. There is one professor, Professor Yot, who wrote a lot of books. Professor Yot was not a Luo. Professor Yot was a Suba. But then he did not have, he had to find someone like, right now I'm a Suba and you need this information about the Suba. So you have to find a Suba. You understand?
Okay.
To support you in that. So Professor Yot, since he was writing in an era that was dominated by the Luos, he found Professor Ugot, which I think most of us have read his books. And since he wanted to impress Professor Ugot, most of the things that he wrote in his books and everything were all in Luo.
Oh. So in short way, we are saying that Luo colonized Suba community.
We would say so. in what we now say, or we now refer to as assimilation. How did the assimilation come by? There was forced education on Subas. There was intermarriages.
Now the education that was forced, you had to receive the education in Luo culture.
Yes, all the books that were written then were all in Luo. Personally, I am one person who read a book called Apirma Marsomo, which was specifically written in Luo for the Subas to help them learn Luo. You understand? This is a book that if you did not pass its contents, you would not move to the next class.
Okay.
Yes. So it was compulsory.
That's dictation. Those people are dictators. Luo are dictators.
They are up to date. Only that people give a blind eye, but they are. So you find that because this was a new community in a community inhabited by a totally different culture. So if you were to marry from this other community, you had to learn Luo.
You must speak in Luo.
You must speak in Luo
to get a wife.
Yes. So this thing went on for a very long time, and then the enforcement by the Luo chiefs. Subas also had chiefs, but then they were. I think the pressure was too much on them to a point that whatever rules or orders they were given, they had to do it in Luo. They had to do it according to the Luo culture, which is how slowly by slowly the Suba culture faded away. So facts.
But Suba are warriors. They are leaders.
They are. Facts. There are a few facts that we should note here. Facts. Subas are not Luos. They are not even Nilotes. Subas are Bantus.
Bantu. Yes. So we have a Bantu from Nyanza.
Yes.
Suba.
Fact.
Number 2.
Subas, the remaining factions of Subas, only about 10% can speak Suba language.
So the colonization has taken.
Yes, it has. Fact.
Number 3.
The entire Homa Bay County is 90% Suba.
Homa Bay County?
Yes.
Where Gladys Wanga?
Yes. Now, that brings me, you just mentioned Gladys Wanga. That brings me to leadership in Homa Bay County or in Nyanza. There, we have leaders right now. We are speaking in an era where we have a leader like Gladys Wanga as the governor of Homa Bay County. We have a leader like Millie Odhiambo as the MP, Beta North or Suba North, which was previously Beta. Yeah, we have a leader like Moses Kajwang, who is the senator of Homa Bay County. We have a leader like John Badi. These are leaders. I'm mentioning leaders who we all know.
Those are Suba.
It is important to note that all the leaders that I've mentioned, not even one of them have a Luo blood in them. They are purely Suba. Purely Suba.
Apart from Baba.
Baba is a pure Luo. Baba is from Siaya County, not Homa Bay County. I was talking about leaders in Homa Bay County.
Homa Bay,
Yes. So I've mentioned Gladys Wanga, who is the governor. I know most people know Gladys Wanga.
Millicent.
I've mentioned Millie Odhiambo, Billy Mabona, who is the MP, Suba North. I've mentioned John Badi, who we all know now as the Cabinet Secretary Treasury.
Pesa inalala kwake, huyu analala na pesa. Kumbe ni Bantu analala tu na pesa. So by the time wako like, oh, sasa pesa inalala Nyanza. Kumbe si Nyanza. Ni Bantu tu, Okuyu tu fulani.
Well, it is Nyanza, but not Luo.
But not Luo, a Bantu. A brother to Okuyu.
It is important to note that.
Yeah.
So, it is when you hear these people speak in platforms like, political platforms, then they speak fluent Luo, you may mistake them for Luos. And if you hear them fight for the people of that region, they do it vehemently as Luos. But they are not. Last year, not last 2 years ago, Gladys Wanga, in a cultural event, a Suba cultural event that is held almost every year in December, said it plainly. That, you know what, this is our culture, because that is a culture that is there to celebrate the Suba people. This is our culture. It is held every year in Rusinga Island. It's called Rusinga Cultural Events, the Rusinga Cultural Festival. So when she was being interviewed, she acknowledged that, of course, this is our culture, but we also live here with the Luos. I myself, Millie, I myself, Gladys, is a Suba.
Oh.
Yes. So they might not say it plainly, but that is who they are. Like I said, there are a lot of factors that led to this kind of confusion. Some leaders, I'm not afraid to say, have used this for political gains. A leader like Raila Odinga, just about a year ago, in Migori, explained the origin and all the sub-tribes and the clans of the Luo. But in that explanation, there was no mention of the Suba. So he also knows that Subas are not Luos. So this assimilation is what brought about what we read in our history books today, the Luo Abasuba. So Nilotes Luos are Nilotes.
Yeah.
And Nilotes are subdivided. Island Nilotes, River Lake Nilotes.
Plain Nilotes.
Yeah, Plain Nilotes. So back in Nyanza or Homa Bay County, the Luos that inhabit that particular place are River Lake Nilotes. And River Lake Nilotes are the faction that moved along with the river, which is River Nile. You know, the origin of the Luos or the Nilotes mostly is from the northern part, that is the South Sudan.
South Sudan.
Yes. So there was that river because there were fishermen, there were farmers.
Nomadic. No, not nomadic.
Some of them were. A few that had grasped that kind of culture. So when history books were placing this, because Subas were deep and spoke that very language, the River Lake Nilotes were subdivided into three: the Jokajok, the Jokowin, the Jokomolo. Those are the only known River Lake Nilotes.
Yes.
River Lake Nilotes. But then, since there were people who lived within them, but could not be classified as Subas, because their culture had been eroded and they started speaking a different language, they were placed there as Luo Abasuba. You understand that?
Now I get the whole. Hey, so Luos, tukitoa tu Subas from Luo, population are reduced.
Yes.